Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Nadex Morning Analysis, where we look at hot spots or potential hot spots in the markets. Today is June 29th, Tuesday, June 29th. My name is Todd Rich. I'm with Nadex. With me, as usual, from Keep Trading Simple is Mr. Brian Caprice. And we have a guest today. We've got Dan Cook, the famous, or I don't know, maybe infamous Dan Cook from Nadex.
Probably infamous.
He's so famous, he's infamous. Before we jump into it, I do need to share this disclaimer that trading involves risk and may not be appropriate for everyone. That any trading decisions you make are solely your responsibility and at your own risk. And this is an educational session. Please do not construe anything any of us say as a buy or sell recommendation. We are doing this for your education purposes. All right, let's jump into it and start taking a look at some of the markets. Now, what do we have on store? Where are things being a bit volatile today? We are going to start off with gold. As you can see, gold has finally broken through these support levels that it had been stuck in this channel for quite a while, and it's breaking down. I mean, it just tanked a bit. Looks like it's trying to form a little bit of a green channel at the moment. So we're going to talk about gold. Then we're going to talk about what's going on with oil. Oil prices started dropping a bit, but then we've seen them clamor back again. So volatility in the oil market, and part of that could be some of the unrest that's going on over in the Middle East. Of course, U.S. Put some missiles into Iraq, taking out some Iranian militias in Iraq and as well as in Syria. And of course, Iran is vowing, and their militia are vowing to retaliate. So with volatility in the Middle East, we know that, hey, that could potentially gum up the works for supply in oil. Plus, we've got OPEC later this week. And to top it off, we know demand for oil is at a high. In fact, going into the holiday weekend, gas prices in the U.S. are on average now punched through $3 a gallon. I think it's now about $3.09. That's the average. So demand for oil going up, unrest Middle East, we're seeing oil climb. And then the other thing, we're going to wrap it up today looking at some currencies. We'll take a look at some dollar strength, the dollar continuing some of its strength we mentioned yesterday, as well as some pound weakness. So that's a lot. So Brian, we got gold, oil, and then we got some currencies we're going to talk about. And then if anyone wants to throw anything else in, if we've got a few minutes, we'll try to cover that for you if we can. Brian, I'm going to flip it over to you, and let's start off with gold.
Yeah, so the yellow square, or the yellow circle, I keep saying square. The yellow circle is where we were yesterday again, and we mentioned that really we saw no trend, no movement, no news, didn't expect a whole lot out of it. We had the two sides, the 1791 and the 1764. You could see that it really just kind of slowly ground, really didn't do anything yesterday whatsoever. Went down slowly, maybe about $5 worth, really not that much. And then the European session, the open was right where the black triangle was again. And again, we have finally pushed through, but you can see there was a setup this morning at about 7 o'clock where we hit and had about just over 2.5 reward in the other direction. So it was a decent little kind of bounce. Now, why this is significant is, again, this is where the session open started. Remember, we always talked about some of the best times to trade, not only news, but session open. These sellers immediately today started to drive this to the downside. So the UK market is really what's been the driving factor for driving gold lower. We've seen, though, typically the US trader is the one that will come back in and support it again. So this was a decent trade if you're able to grab it. Now that level's been hit too many times, we're looking lower. And I would say that most likely the 1747 to 1743 is the next area where we have decent buying coming in. We are, as you can see, in the green area. And again, gold is very, very beat up. Looking for actual news headlines today to see what's really driving this. I think a lot of this is really coming back to some of the lockdowns that we're starting to see. If you guys didn't know already today, that there's now 4 major Australian capital 4 of the 8, so half their major capital cities, are on lockdown. So there's 10 million people under lockdown now in Australia because of this Delta variant. Also, I did see yesterday that the CDC is now recommending that even if you've been vaccinated, to help make sure that Delta variant doesn't get here, that you should wear a mask again. So we're going mask on, mask off, mask on, mask off again. One of those things. But the Delta variant is actually making quite a name for itself now. And again, with Australia locking down half, that may be some of the reason why. You may say, what does that have to do with gold? Well, if we're going back into a lockdown recovery phase, halting phase again, that doesn't bode well for inflation. So I would say at this point, let's see where it runs. We got about 40 minutes before the true U.S. market opens up. That's enough room to run to the downside. I will say this 1 to 2.5 is decent because this run up was about $11.50 off of that level. Why that's significant? That's the 4-hour ATR. Okay, so as we see this, again, this opening, this will be about another $11 back down. We may be able to hit this around a 10 o'clock reversal today. And again, looking to see, again, we got to use that same level as our kind of profit-taking area. If we go long, you guys can see right here, our 1 to 3, which is our minimum distance, is well before where the target is on the other side. So I would say right now, if we can get a little bit of a pullback, we typically like the base there, but if we get a pullback, there probably is another short in there if this is going to establish its new channel. And I wouldn't be surprised if we do start establishing a new channel. That's what we saw last time on the way up, is we channeled, we popped, we channeled, we popped, we channeled, we popped for a while. If we can maintain and hold this could be the establishment of a new, the top end of the new channel. So I would say right now, wait for this to come down. Look for potential bounces at 1747. I'll pull this down if we get a pullback. We'll change this from green over into yellow as an area of interest now, and see how that rolls today. But like I said, I think U.S. trader coming online would be a good thing. And then again, that 10 o'clock, 10:30 reversal time could be where we get the bounce off of this later on down the road.
So, yeah. All right. You know what? I'm just going to bring this over. So on the Nadex platform, I've got the binary options up here, and I've zoomed in so you can see some of the numbers. I wish I can go in a little further, but then I might not. Well, I might be able to make it a little bit bigger. But we can clearly see gold in this downtrend. Brian calling. I mean, it's going to be difficult. Looking for it to come down a little bit lower into this just below the 1750 level is where on his chart he's seeing some buyers step in. So definitely some volatility in gold. Hey Brian, while you're mentioning gold, you mentioned Australia. I mean, that's obviously impactful. Do you want to take a quick peek at just a real quick peek at the Aussie dollar or the Aussie yen, because I think we're seeing some weakness in the Aussie dollar. Let me flip this back over to you real quickly.
Big. And just so you guys know, I'm not going to say what it is, but for those of you that watch the channel on a regular basis, again, we appreciate that, and you guys know what this purple color means. So if you don't know what it is, you need to go and do some homework, whether watch old episodes or go out there and look at the different products that Nadex offers right now. There just happens to be a little hidden gem sitting right there at 1743, and I'll leave you guys with that one. Remember, limited risk is very, very important, and there's something special about 1743. Aussie dollar.
I love that. It's a little mystery.
Not telling you what it is.
I'll tell you what. You could try to figure it out on the Nadex products, and we'll give you the answer in tomorrow's session. How's that?
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, Aussie, you can see Aussie's been pretty much straight down. Here's the Europeans coming online, and you can see what's happened. It's also associated with what we're seeing with the dollar. Again, basically straight down. We had that area of interest, and it did have a little bit of a base there. This is the same thing. We got a little bit more to go in the Aussie dollar. It's got to come down about 12 more pips. It's an area that, again, is it the cleanest of areas? Not really. It was a decent base and a pop, and it had a decent base there on the second time, and it's been front run. So I would say it's also more kind of set up, and again, this is the Aussie dollar. Kind of more set up for reversal. On the larger time frame, though, we are in the blue area, which is kind of that no man's land in the middle, so it's not the strongest of buys, but it is an area that was tested previously, and that was a European open test. So again, this is a lot of movement. Let me see how much movement we got here. That's at 61 pips in this pair. Right now, the daily ATR, whoops, not the hourly. The daily ATR, this one right now, is 61. So we've done an entire day's worth of movement in 6 hours. So again, that is a candidate for some type of reversal. And it's the same thing. It's got to move about another 15, 20 pips into an area. And then Aussie yen is about the same way, but not as clean. You can see that we took a bounce here, based, bounced, based, and then finally dropped. And looking to the left on the 30-minute, you can see the same thing. We've had, these correction moves in here and kind of pushing forward. So The Aussie dollar, it's not just a dollar play. It also, again, is kind of an Aussie roll as well. And again, locking down there is not great, but there will be some profit taking coming in here sometime soon. And I would say this is a little bit better of an area, although it's kind of a test over here. And how much more space is that to the downside? It's about 24, so it's all right. I would say that the Aussie is setting up for some type of a control piece here a bit. But
it's interesting though, because both the Aussie dollar and the Aussie yen are seeing support potentially just a little bit lower.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
which also corresponds with the gold chart.
Right. Yeah. And again, Aussie is going to be the proxy for gold. So
right, and that was part of the lesson for today. Is you can look Aussie being a proxy for gold. When you see gold doing that, you could always think when you're looking for volatility or potential trade ideas, jumping over to say the Aussie dollar or the Aussie yen. All right, let's move over now to oil. Oil making some significant swings. Yeah, and we've had these, we've talked about these big little days. We've had a big night. Let's jump into that one.
So if you remember yesterday, I talked about we had an extremely compressed session. And, again, we typically see this pattern, a little big pattern, and it's something that has repeated itself again and again and again and again. You can see it many, many times here. And I talked about if we could break out top or bottom, I thought either was decent. If we had a spike up, we were immediately looking to get short because this is the 4-hour daily level that we were looking to get short from. And again, we pushed down in one, we kind of pulled back, and it was off to the races. And that was a huge move yesterday. It was a drop of $1.40, and that was really considered a non-news-based day. I think a lot of that had to do with the U.S. trader basically hearing nothing about Iran yesterday really whatsoever. Today, the only thing we heard was about, but wait, they shot some rockets back again, so they are retaliating, and there's some more comments. And you can see it was pretty volatile. 3 o'clock, we went straight down. 5 o'clock, we hit buyers. And again, we knew we had buyers coming in at 71.60, and it drove back up again. So this is kind of the opposite scenario what we typically see, right? We normally see the little and then the big, or kind of the mirrored move. If we have a mirrored move today, it's going to probably have to be straight back down again to that 72 level. So it's kind of interesting. And again, there are some buyers just a little bit higher. I would say probably more up here is where I'd be looking to take some shorts out of this one. But I do think it's very important. And again, remember, it is Tuesday. We will get the API number later on today. And last week, the API number was absolutely huge and foreshadowed the oil inventory report on Wednesday, which again will be tomorrow morning. But we will talk from now till then. So I think oil is one of those interesting plays. And again, it could be a time for you to get out and look at alternate Nadex products besides binaries, look at call spreads and look at knockouts, and see just by chance if there happens to be a ceiling anywhere close from there or within that range. If we're able to drive up, maybe it's a time to kind of look at something and take, a small risk-based trade and see if there's a reversal up there.
Yep. And by the way, on this one, I did want to just pull over the daily FX economic calendar, as Brian mentioned. This is on Central Time, so the API, the stocks, the inventory doesn't come out until later. But remember, this is an industry report. So sometimes people take that one with a little grain of salt, whereas tomorrow we've actually got the government measure of oil inventories, where I don't know why I'm having a hard time locating it because there's so much going on tomorrow. Oh, there it is. 10:30 in the morning tomorrow. We'll have the oil inventory numbers. Okay, so we've covered gold, we've covered oil. We actually threw in the Aussie there for a bit. Let's just talk quickly because we got a few minutes on some dollar strength. I think we could, and the pound weakness. I don't know if you want to do pound dollar first, or you want to do the dollar Swiss, like the little lesson we had from yesterday.
Yeah,
I'll let you choose.
Yeah, this is oil, and there just happens to be a purple price tag on oil as well, just FYI. We'll go again.
Oh, you told them what the purple meant.
I said there's a price tag. That's all I said was there's a price tag.
Check out those knockouts and call spreads.
I didn't say that. I just said a price tag.
Okay.
So pound dollar yesterday, we talked about this level, was an area of interest down here at 138.58. I said any type of basing, look for a break and a pullback to this level. We ended up getting a bit of a base, which again should have been the trigger. Look for this pullback. It did pull back, and again, you could have taken this and said, hey, listen, I'm going to short it off this pullback because that's what we're looking for. You could have got short here. This was right around the European Open right here. It's a little bit early. But again, it's the type of pullback we like into a 30-minute level right here, right after the base. Again, that was a trigger to look for the base. If you didn't catch it, if you just used the old level, we're looking for the break of 138.58. You can see it based here, pulled down, pulled back, grabbed it, and it's pushing down to our target at 138.03. I would say this is kind of the same scenario. Again, dollar strength coming in the overnight. Europeans have just literally just driven this one higher. It's pretty close, kind of the same scenario. It's really close, so it's only 20 pips away. I don't know. At this point, it's probably too late to get short this position. But if we take a bounce, and again, if we hit this one and it stabilizes at 138.03, get that confirmation, kind of the Harry Potter back to the top side, and see if we can run it back up to 138.58 as well. And again, this is a lot. This is pretty decent movement from the European session. 66 pips. This one will move a little bit more, so it hasn't gone over a full ATR. But it's the same thing. It's driving into the open. We're hitting profit targets. There'll be profit taking coming in. So maybe look for a 9:30, 10 o'clock reversal as well here with the pound dollar. And dollar Swiss, here's where we were sitting yesterday. We talked about being up here. We talked about it being a little bit far and basically saying, hey, listen, it's too late to get into the trade now. Actually, 9 o'clock is right here. But it's the same thing. If you guys attended the education seminar 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago at this point, I don't know. They're all blended together at this point. This was a parabolic move, and then here was the parabolic retracement back down again based off those 30-minute levels at the open. So there was a nice little trade set up. And again, you can see since that time, all it has done is kind of rallied its way, fought its way back up again, got short at the same exact place. And again, this was hit number 4 that ran through, and now we've pushed a little bit higher. So there's not really a setup that I can give you guys, minus this is what we saw yesterday. This is the area we're dealing with. I'll make it a little bit bigger for you right now. This is very, very hard to draw any zone and figure out where the sellers are because you had one here, one higher, one lower, one higher again. So it is in the range where I would say there's probably a reversal. There's really no Swiss strength coming in right now. It's probably going to go along with the kind of the same dollar strength that we're seeing in the other pairs. But unfortunately, there's not really a great zone that I can give you here. I think there's better opportunity out there. And again, if you follow the dollar index, I'll bring that one across. You can see that the dollar index,
Keeps
looking to the left, here's where we are right now. We're in that racetrack. We don't really have anything in the dollar index until we come back up here. So we got a little bit of room to run. Like I said, all the pairs are kind of lining up in the same way. There's still a little bit more room to run in dollar strength, but it does match up with a U.S. Open /10-1030 reversal time frame. So,
and can you jump back over to your pound dollar chart real quickly? Do you mind?
Yeah.
All right. And where is that level that you're seeing some potential support, roughly?
138.
138. All right. So,
Don't give it away, Todd. Don't give it away.
So you should. This is that. Do you want to take a look at knockouts? Do you want to take a look at call spreads? And so I'm going to give people the answer today just to take a look so they, no surprises here.
There's always that one guy at the party, Todd. Thanks.
I know. I got to ruin the fun for everyone. Here's that 138 level that Brian's talking about. Let me actually put it right in there, right about there. Now, if you were looking for, it's an if this, then that situation. If it comes down to this 138 level and you're looking for a bounce, finally catching some support as the pound continues to get weaker, dollar continues to show some strength, but we might look for a reversal. Take a look at where this is a knockout. Take a look where the knockouts are. Take a look at your risk-reward relationship. And with the knockouts, just as a reminder, if you were to take this long, I'm not telling you to do that, but if you were, that your risk is limited. And if it touched in this, the floor is just below the 138 level. If it touched it, you get knocked out and you went the wrong way. You're not gonna get demolished. I mean, your risks are very tight, and if you do happen to catch a bounce, there's a possibility for some profit in there to the upside. Remember, with call spreads, you have that optionality. And I was trying to look for a call spread on the pound dollar. I didn't catch one quickly. I mean, there's a lot of choices in there, but the knockout's got a floor that's pretty close. Any parting shots? I'll open it up. Dan or Brian, you guys got any parting shots or anything you'd like to share before we call it a day here?
I would just say there's a purple tag in pound dollar as well. But Dan, what do you got?
Yeah, I'm just kind of shocked that Todd wrecked it for everybody.
Yeah, exactly. Right, we need
the fun for people.
Yeah.
We gotta
have one.
You know what we're gonna do is maybe we should try to figure this out. Put in a question and then give a prize at the next session for someone who gets the answer. I don't know how we would do that. We'll have to figure it out. All right, with that, Any questions for Nadex, please email us, customerservice@nadex.com, whether it's about our products, our markets, the platform, your account. We can't help if you don't reach out if you're having any challenges. Brian is also very available and accessible. You can catch Brian at support@keeptradingsimple.com. Please email him. He's definitely there to answer your questions.
And on at noon today.
Oh, God, and I forgot today.
Tuesday.
Today we're going to do. He's going to be doing a full-blown hour-long session, so 12 Eastern. If you haven't registered, you can go to the Nadex website, learning webinars. You'll be able to sign up for that if you're not there, but it'll be a full hour-long session on everything. Reminder, let's go through what we went through. Gold was breaking down, also had some corresponding moves in the Australian dollar. Oil, very volatile, price bounce back, pretty significant move bounce back as we're still curious about what the supply situation is going to look like. We know what the demand situation looks like. Took a look at a little bit of dollar strength and took a look at some pound weakness. Brian and I will be back with Dan again tomorrow morning. So we will catch you all then. A reminder, next week, there will be no morning sessions next week. We'll pick back up the week of the 12th. But we are going to take the Independence holiday week and see what we're doing there. It's not just an Independence holiday weekend. We're going to make it an Independence holiday week. We're going to take those off for these sessions. Nadex, of course, will be open the entire week. Nadex will even be open on Independence Day in the morning for Forex pairs. So Nadex always open. We're just not going to do these sessions. With that, good luck in the markets, everyone, and we will catch you tomorrow. Thanks.